Ciao tutti, Dr. Mazzella with MedStreet, here with one of our board members, Jeremy Miller. Wanted to check in with you, give you the opportunity to meet Mr. Miller and get to know about him and what he's doing for MedStreet. Jeremy Miller? Good to meet you.
Good seeing you again. Yeah, no, it's great. We've known each other for what, 22, 23, 24
years.
24 years.
24 years.
It's a long time.
Yeah,
it's a long time to know somebody.
Yeah, long time.
Yeah.
So how did we meet?
Well, you were in medical school in residency with my wife, actually, not medical school, but residency.
Right.
Yeah, with Janelle.
Right.
And I got to meet you from there, and it was it's been a great relationship ever since.
Yeah, it sure has been. Sure has been. So I need to tell you, very modest guy. So when we first met, you had us over for a movie, I think. So we came over for a movie, and it was
Gladiator?
G.I. Jane. G.I. Jane, actually.
Oh, G.I. Jane, wow.
So we watched
okay.
G.I. Jane, and remember I was on call, so I was getting pages, and Jeremy was such a nice guy. Like,
did I put it on pause for you?
You put on pause.
Dude, I must have really liked you. You must have made it in the top of my book.
I tell you, man, it was...
I don't put movies on pause for everybody.
I understand. Movies are important. But yeah, I found it impressed me because I even said, it's okay. You can let it play. Like, I don't want to keep interrupting the movie for everybody else just because I have to enter a page. Yeah. But you would pause it and you would wait. And I thought, this guy's like a Special Forces Green Beret. Like, I thought you were supposed to be, all this stuff. A super nice guy. Like, very impressive. But anyway. And then we went... speaking of which, we went camping a few times. You took me camping. Where did you guys train out in? Well,
the URI National Forest.
Yeah,
it's one of them.
Right. So we went out there a couple times and taught me how to. What do they call it?
Tie your shoes.
Tie my shoes.
Yeah, we got the tying the shoes out of the way.
Yeah. Then what? Night nav.
Yeah.
Okay.
We probably did some navigation at night and during the day. Yeah.
Right. So we did it for, a short time, then we set up a tent in the dark and that kind of thing, but...
We closed our eyes.
It's amazing, it's tough. Like, you can't go very far very fast. Like, I was amazed at how often I'm getting hit in the face with trees and sticks and limbs and stumbling and fumbling. Like, that's a skill. Like, I loved camping, and we go camping.
Well, I think the viewers need to understand that when you go land navving or anything like that, you're not using the trails. So you're really just beating the bush, and so you're walking through all that. So you never know what you're going to run into.
Right, or stumble into, or stumble over. So
or fell.
How do you minimize the stumbles and the fumbles, especially if you're doing, you do?
No, as a matter of fact, one of my fondest memories going through the course was how many times I fell.
Okay.
I was counting. I couldn't see a thing because you can't use a headlamp. And I fell, I'd fall on my face, my rucksack would come up and hit me back of the head, and I would just go, I'd just start laughing. And I get back up, okay, let's do it again. So let's just keep going. What else are you going to do?
Yeah, what else are you going to do?
Life hits you in the times when you don't realize it. And just segue this into the MedStreet part is, most of these people on the streets, we're all probably 3 to 6 months from being on the streets. So life can hit anybody at any time.
Right.
And it could be your mother, could be your father, could be your aunt, uncle.
Right.
So yeah.
So so getting hit in the back of the head with the rucksack and laughing and getting back up, is that a life skill that you already had, or is that something that you learned in the special forces up?
Yeah, I think it's a mindset that you have instead of a life skill. It's just, you just get the mindset that it doesn't matter what hits you, what comes your way. You just got to keep getting back up and doing it again, because you're going to get hit again and you're going to get knocked back down. So when are you going to do that? I mean, if you stop, then you're done.
Right.
I mean, what's the point?
Yeah.
So
sounds like a lot like Rocky V when he's teaching his teaching his kid to get back up. It's not what does he say? It's not how much,
not how hard you get hit.
It's how many times you get up. Yeah. You just keep getting up.
Yeah.
Impressive. So you mentioned the course. What course is that?
So it's a Special Forces course, the Q course. And actually, what I was talking about happened during selection for that. It's called SFAS. And
right.
Where we go to get trained. Well, not trained. They would select you depending on how you did and how you reacted to things.
So do you think it helped select people who already had that mindset of you just keep getting back up? You just keep getting back up?
Yeah, I mean, you can't train that. You have to already have that kind of mindset. Yeah, they're going to train other skills as well, but you got to come with. you got to come with something.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
And so I think that's where everybody comes from. And
how long is the course?
Well, that course is only 3 months, or 3 weeks rather.
Gotcha.
3 weeks. But the Q course could be anywhere between 6 months and a year, plus language school, all that stuff.
Gotcha. So what was the easiest part of the course?
Yesterday.
Yesterday was the easiest day. Very good.
Yeah.
What was the toughest day?
The time you were in, right then.
Right then.
Yeah. It's all about managing the moment. Yeah. The moment is the toughest. If you try to look out too far, then you're going to defeat yourself, because you know the monumental tasks that are in between today and 5 minutes from now.
Right.
So it's just one step at a time sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
So how did you manage, or what are some of the tools you used to manage the moment? Some of those moments got tough, I would guess.
Yeah. So I was fortunate. I kind of grew up with, like Zig Ziglar and Napoleon Hill and these kind of things in high school. So I already had this kind of a positive type of attitude when things hit. So that helped a lot. But I did have a friend of mine from high school that had given me a little pocket card. Actually, she gave me it was a pocket card, and it was called "Don't Quit." When life hits you hard, and
right.
Don't quit.
Don't quit.
So it's a very, very good poem.
So
I wish I could remember. I can't. I'd say it now, but I can't.
Okay, gotcha. And did you have any religious upbringings that may or may not have any philosophical, any?
I did grow up in a church, but I don't know that at this point. I don't know. It could have played a part in some of that, but I don't recall that being. It was more of, oh my gosh, my feet hurt, my legs hurt, my back hurts, my head hurt, my eyes hurt, everything hurt.
Everything.
And I just couldn't really think about anything other than everything hurting.
Understood. So. Well, when I hear some of the podcasts and military guys talking, it seems like they bring up the why, or the Tony Robbins's. Mm-hmm. They seem to mention the why. Did that play a part of the Q course, getting through the Q course?
Well, the why for me was I wanted to complete this. I even went to selection, didn't know what Special Forces really did. I watched Rambo, but I didn't understand it to anything. I went because I wanted to complete something that was hard, and honestly, I was not gonna continue. I was gonna finish it and get done and go be a musician.
But you mean you were going to continue the Q course, like you were going to make?
No, this was
course.
Before. This was the selection piece.
Right.
My intentions were to complete selection and say I did something that was hard.
Right.
Now I'm going to go do something else.
Understood.
That was my goal.
So once you got through the Q course,
then I met all the dudes and I was like, no, this is where I need to be.
Yeah.
So I decided that I quit playing music all culture.
Yeah. Because you were a professional music player.
Which is kind of weird, right? I actually went in the Army. I went in the Army to be in the band. I was a trumpet player.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So you're playing trumpet professionally in the Army band.
Yeah, and I went to the Army bands, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, this musician wants to be a tough guy.
Yeah, well, it was a good transition.
To his defense, you have to know he was a tough guy already. You should see pictures of this guy back in the day. He was a tank. He still is kind of a tank. You can see it, but
I'm just.
He was a tank.
More round.
Well, you did.
I'm more round. I'm more of a ball.
But you did all this weightlifting and bodybuilding. I mean,
I was in great shape.
Yeah.
I was in great shape. I needed to be in great shape because what I lacked in knowledge of what we were doing, I was able to absorb some of that because of my conditioning. Yeah.
So this talk is about Jeremy Miller, but your story kind of reminds me of when I was post-college, pre-medical school. Didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life, and I remember it's like 2 a.m. in the morning, sitting in an emergency room. I just had this job as a telemetry clerk, so I'm watching the telemetry monitors, and nighttime is not my good time, so it's a hard place for me to be. But I remember this couple coming into the emergency room, and they had a little baby with them. They were new parents, you could tell, and they were very upset. Their child was sick, and they didn't know what was going on. And a few minutes later, the doc walks in and spends some time in the room, walks out, sometime after that, the couple walks out. The baby had stopped crying, was obviously feeling better. And the relief of the look on the parents' faces, I'll never forget. So that was my moment. That was my moment when I knew that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be that guy. Yeah. So to me, it sounds like at the end of the Q course, when you went through all of this grueling...
Well, the selection.
The
selection piece of it, yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
But when you met these guys, all of a sudden you realized...
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Same kind of concept.
It was life-changing process.
Oh, yeah. It certainly was life-changing.
Yeah.
Altered the course of my life forever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, fantastic. So you go through selection, you go through this Q course, you become a Green Beret. Then what happens from there? What did you do as a Green Beret? Where did you go?
Immediately, I went to Somalia. I went to language school.
Okay.
Learned Farsi. Then I went to. Then I immediately got deployed to Somalia. Early 2000.
Because they speak Farsi.
Or 92, rather. Yeah. Well, no, but that's where the company that I was going to was being deployed. So, yeah.
So 92, Somalia. There was some things going on then, right?
Well, right at the end of 92, so it was really 93. So 92, I went through the course, and yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was all that, the hunger. I mean, people were starving, and they needed some people out there to help get that taken care of. Well, the Special Forces teams were sent out to go and be with so they separated the teams into with all the different warlords.
Right.
And to try to coordinate and try to figure out who we were going to work with and not work with, and who was good and bad and all that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right. How was your time there? Like, how did that?
It was interesting. Yeah, no, some things happened that was very eye-opening for me. We were confiscating weapons from Somalis that were protecting. A lot of them were just protecting themselves, from the warlords. Right. But you don't know who's going to shoot at you, so we confiscated a lot of weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a quagmire.
Yeah.
How do you figure out who's the good guys, who's the bad guys? Can you That's tough.
You can't.
You can't.
You just gotta do what you think's right, and hopefully it turns out okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you try to vet them as best you can.
How was the medical situation over there for the people?
It wasn't good. I mean, there were a lot of. I mean, they didn't have much, right? I mean, what they had, they'd share. I was fortunate. We had a couple of Somalis that had offered us to come over for dinner, and I just remember I was really young too, right? I was, I don't know, 22 years old by then, maybe 20. Yeah. And they invited us over, and they didn't have anything, but what they had, they brought it all out, right?
Amazing.
It was my first experience having camel's milk. I don't suggest it for anybody, but it was very interesting.
Directly from the camel?
I imagine so.
Okay.
Somehow. Yeah. I mean, it made it into some kind of container.
Okay.
So I didn't just squirt it out.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
How touching. People who didn't have much still wanted to host you and give to you.
It was a very, very neat thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I a lot of times you tell the stories of, I did this and that, but really the fun stories are the ones where you got things wrong.
Wrong.
Yeah. So I remember one time we went to, we never drank the water. We'd get boxed waters that kept Mount Kilimanjaro on it, and always drink the boxed water, right? And so we went to had a little R&R in Mombasa, and we sat down to eat, and I ordered a drink, and they had Pepsi, and they gave it to me. It was room temperature, and I don't like room temperature Pepsi, so I asked for some ice. You got to remember, ice is water. So that was kind of fun.
I got you. What happened after you?
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Was the
Code
Pepsi
Brown.
cold?
I had some Code Brown.
Code Brown?
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad. That can be bad. So the Pepsi, was it good?
Oh, it was wonderful Pepsi at that point. Right then it was. It didn't hit me right away.
You're a Green Beret. You spend how many years? And then what happened?
I ended up spending probably 7 years, and I decided I wanted to I wanted to make money.
Okay.
So I got out for making money reasons.
Gotcha.
And then when I was out making money, I thought, well, I'd rather be doing something that actually benefits people, rather than just myself.
Yeah.
So I started seeing things a little differently as you get a little older.
Right.
So, yeah.
Gotcha.
And then I went back in.
What brought you back in?
I wanted to do something bigger than myself again.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And all my friends were still doing the thing, and I'm home with my family.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you felt a compulsion to serve your country, is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It wouldn't.
Thank you for that.
It's not their responsibility to shoulder all the burden.
Right.
Yeah.
You wanted to take your share.
And I could still do my job.
Right.
So I got to go back in, same rank, same company, same team.
Wow.
I was on active duty first, but at this point, when I first got out, I went in the Guard for a couple of years.
Gotcha.
And then I got out.
Any of the same
of the
guys
Guard.
still there? Or?
Yeah, we had 4 of the same 10 guys that were on our team.
Wow.
We're still on that same team 10 years later.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were they happy to see you?
Yeah, they brought me back.
That's great.
I guess they were happy. They could have said no. I guess they'd go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, and then did you go back to Somalia? Where'd you go?
Then we got deployed to Afghanistan. That's actually why I went back in, because I knew they
Gotcha.
were.
What year was
deployed.
this?
2009.
2009.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. So 92 was when you first went in, is that right?
No, I first went into service in 88.
88, gotcha.
92 was when I graduated. The Q
I
course.
see. Right, because you're in
In
the band
language school.
before then. Then 92 was Q course. Now we're a Green Beret.
Yeah.
Then we did service. We went to Somalia.
Mm-hmm.
We got out. We did some real estate.
Real estate, and started technology business, doing some stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then we went back in to serve our country.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to Afghanistan.
Yeah. Then they got back out.
And got back out.
Yeah.
How was Afghanistan? Was it similar to Somalia? What was the situation?
No,
there?
totally. I mean, a lot of different things have changed, right? Technology. I mean,
Yeah.
we were hand cranking batteries at one time. So we were sending Morse code and writing with one-time pads and encrypting messages that way. Well,
Right.
it's not quite that way anymore.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Now we got all this encryption that happens for us, and because people have built some really nice, cool things, and now that leads us to the cybersecurity part of that, right?
Right.
Which is now, anytime you communicate, it's encrypted and sent out, and
Right.
that kind of thing. So
Right. So technology changed. So you had to get back up to speed on technology because you were a communications guy, right?
yeah,
Gotcha.
oh yeah, that took a few minutes.
So that's how you knew Morse code and.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Morse code, and a lot of things.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Any interesting stories from Afghanistan? How about meeting the people there? Did you get to meet people, have dinner? Like in Somalia, you had dinner with?
Yeah, so I mean, I went to Afghanistan with a different mindset than some people did. I wasn't just going. I was going to help. I wasn't going to just because I wanted to go shoot somebody.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of that happens in war, but that's not the intention.
Right.
The intention is to make a difference.
Right.
Right. And how do you make a difference?
Right.
Sometimes it's shooting somebody, but that's not a long-term difference. For
No.
some things,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think you mentioned the other day that's actually the minority of the help is fighting and all that battles and killing. That's the minority of what the military does to accomplish the mission. That's the smallest part of.
Well, there's a
successful.
lot more to being in the military than just that. Yeah, I mean, those are the frontline things that you hear about.
Well, when I see a movie, that's
Yeah.
that part that I always see, and that's the interesting part. So,
Mm-hmm.
but what are the other parts that happen behind the scenes that are happening?
Well, I mean, in that case of Afghanistan, you've got to go meet the people. You got to understand the people. You got to help the people, and you got a whole populace there that if they don't want you there, that you won't be there.
You won't be there.
Right. So you gotta win the hearts and minds of the people. So to
Understood.
speak, yeah.
Understood.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I remember before you went to Afghanistan, boy, you did a lot of reading and a lot of research, and boy, we talked a lot about where they're coming from, where they're at, a lot about their culture, their values,
Mm-hmm.
Islam. Why do they think what they think? How can we be helpful? How can we meet them where they're at? I mean, we had a lot of conversations like that.
Yeah. No, I did do a lot of studying. Yeah, it came to the realization that you're not going to change somebody's mind if they're ready to push the button
Right.
to get the bomb on them. You have to shoot them,
Right.
or they're going to kill you.
Right.
And when that situation's there, but where does it start? It starts more with the children and understanding and the growing up, and even the Afghans, my Afghan friends, it's generational change. It's not you can't go and change things right away. It doesn't happen that way. I mean, they're deep in tradition. We had one of my friends who was a professor in agriculture. I met through some of my studies before I went. I had him come over from my house because he happened to be at Purdue helping the agri-development teams.
Yeah.
And I didn't really care about agri-development at the time, but I cared about
my friend
that was here from Afghanistan and trying to understand them and understand the culture. And, and I came up with some ideas to try to invoke some change. And one of the ideas, he just kind of laughs and it's like, we got a lot more problems than just that. Right. And I'm like, well, but this will help.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But my point is, he came over to the house and did a cultural presentation for us, and a little thumb drive, and so he already had one presented ready for the military guys. Yeah. He's like talking about his thousands of years of culture and history and all this, and I'm thinking, man, I don't even know if my family really knows why we're here for Thanksgiving. It's like, I'm joking, of course, but we don't have that far of a thought process in our culture, it seems. So. Right.
Interesting. Yeah. So culture's important. So did you made some friends in Afghanistan or not? Or
yeah, no, I made everybody befriended their interpreters and the people that work with them as a closer group of people. Gotcha. And we're no different. I mean, we had some of our interpreters have been with the SF teams for 5, 6 years before I got there, right? So they had already been ingrained in the American culture. And it was nice being able to talk with them and understand a little bit deeper because they could communicate it with us a little bit better.
Right. Yeah, I mean, makes sense. I think I saw some videos you have of talking to some of the. One was an interpreter, I think you were talking.
Yeah,
to
both
him.
Those guys. We did a little interview, kind of like this, right? Just trying to understand more about where they see things and how things are from their perspective, just so I could share with my family.
Yeah, it's interesting. I met an Uber driver who was an interpreter, an Afghan interpreter who had come over and had helped the special forces, and he was very appreciative of at least what we tried to do. At least what we tried to accomplish.
Yeah, I mean, we may not have fully accomplished it to where it needed to go, but we started things in the right way.
Yeah.
The intentions were right.
So, when did you leave Somalia? I mean, Afghanistan.
In 2010.
Okay, and then you came back.
Yep, came back.
Gotcha.
And got out.
You got out.
Yeah.
And now, and you've been out, or are you still active in some way with the?
I mean, I'm out of performing any military duties.
So you're not an operator, as they say.
Yeah. We started a local Special Forces Association chapter in Indiana.
Okay.
So I'm the current president for that.
Is that another nonprofit?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a nonprofit. It's a 50C19,
okay,
which is a military type organization.
Gotcha.
But where we try to help our brothers and
right,
have come out and.
Okay. Yeah. And help them in what ways?
Some reassemble back into society, or just have a place to connect and communicate these stories that only we can talk about, right? I mean, nobody really understands what it's like to be a doctor in there unless you're a doctor or a nurse in there with the patients all the time and understand that. So it's same kind of concept.
Gotcha.
In the military.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So assimilation back sometimes has been difficult. I certainly hear the stories, and certainly through MedStreet see veteran homelessness is a problem. So it sounds like you're trying to get people before they. Before that happens.
Yeah. You want to get it before anything bad happens. I mean, I'm not sure what the statistics are now from a veteran's perspective, but there's 22 a day were committing suicide.
Right.
Even that affects the soft element, which is the special operation forces. Right. Not just as special forces, but all across the board of the Air Force, the Navy, and the Marines that are in that side of things.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, I can't imagine. I mean, I get why a soldier or a special forces operator has to talk to another special forces operator. I mean, some of the pressures that you see and face, and it seems fairly unique, and a lot of us don't have to face that type of situation. So is something that existed that you're now the president of that nonprofit, or is this?
No, it was already here established. We were just a chapter.
Okay.
There's like 80 chapters around the world.
Gotcha.
So, we're not a big chapter. We just started. The chapter for Indiana.
Gotcha.
So there wasn't even an established place for that.
So you started the chapter for Indiana.
Yeah, me and some of my friends.
Right,
I mean,
right.
I can't do any. I don't live in a vacuum.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. Trust me, I understand. Yeah, absolutely.
But we were fortunate to get it going.
Okay, great. So, and what's the name of the nonprofit again?
The Special Forces Association.
Special Forces Association. Yeah. Okay. So, if any Special Forces Association Indiana looking to get linked up, is that the lingo to get linked up, hooked up?
Just give us a call.
Okay. What's the website?
Just go to the national website, Special Forces Association.
Okay. Is it a
.org?
.org?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, ours is Special Forces Association AC500.org. But,
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then, so what else are you doing?
We started another chapter, a brand new chapter in Indiana for, it's called AFCEA, where you connect. So back to the affiliation with the military, all the contractors that want to help the war fighters and helping them connect with the federal and the state and help build, do, service, these things that we need in the government.
Right.
The government needs. The government doesn't make anything. The government has to source all that out.
Gotcha.
So I was fortunate enough to be in a starting group for that as well.
Yeah.
Got a great team that's working on that, and
right.
I was fortunate to be the president of that one.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And then any other nonprofits? You're of course on the board of MedStreet.
Yeah, MedStreet. We did do a Vets in House nonprofit. I was board chair for another one called CYT, Christian Youth Theater, helping kids just realize their talents and things like that through a Christ-based, Judeo-based type environment.
Yeah.
I was on another board in an organization. It was more for it was a real estate one, right? For teaching and training and this kind of thing and networking.
Right.
Real estate. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but that one, I mean, it was okay for the time, but it's not a fulfilling organization. Everybody's there for make money.
I see.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, it seems like you've been through that phase.
Back to that making money thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I'm not saying I don't want to make money.
I understand.
I need to make money. Everybody has to pay the rent. Everybody's got to pay their bills. Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
So what are you doing now to pay the rent?
So I've got a couple other companies. We got a real estate brokerage. I own some real estate and rental real estate, and have another company that's a cybersecurity company.
Gotcha.
We saw the need that in the United States, there's so many things happening, and these other countries are trying to take advantage of us and our IP and malware and all these things that cause these businesses to falter.
Right.
And end up having to either pay ransomware or they can't do all that. So we started a cybersecurity company to help protect our companies, which ultimately protects the people because they need a job, right? And in the overall arching scheme of things, it helps our country, because if they take out enough of our middle market, our whole country could go down.
Right.
I mean, we could have some real problems.
Right.
I mean, you saw with the pipeline issue. I mean, that's just that's just one industry.
Right.
Right.
That was just one attack one time.
Yeah, and they're happening all the time, and some of them are being defended, but most companies are not protected at all.
Right.
I mean, 80% of them don't have any cyber plan at all. So we've developed some technology and some pathways to help expedite that and help get them to a cyber readiness, a cyber resiliency, where they actually play a part in that as well.
Right.
So you can't help people that don't want to help themselves, and they have to understand a little bit better. So we try to. It might be a complicated subject and very complicated things that happen. In reality, they're not that complicated if you know, but you just got to bring it down so people can understand.
Understand. Yeah. And what's the name of the company?
Lionfish Cybersecurity.
Okay. So what you're saying is that if I own a company, Lionfish can help not only with my security, but educate me about cyber.
Right. So there's things people always get what's called cyber awareness training. A lot of people are getting that. You get an email that tells you don't click the phishing link. That's one.
Sure.
But there's many more things. So most companies don't have even in their regular operations policies and procedures of what happens if this happens and who takes care of this. The companies that get streamlined get those, but they don't have them in the cyber world
Right.
as well. So we help them get through that. And by doing that, they start to understand more that security isn't just a click on a button. You've really got to be watching things a lot.
Well, I mean, not that I understand that much really about the Green Berets, but it sounds very Green Beret-ish to me. Like you train people how to defend themselves, and it sounds like that's what Lionfish does. It sets up some initial security and then also provides the training.
Yeah, I mean, we've modeled our philosophy around the Special Forces type of missions, and it's called by, with, and through. So we work by, with you, and through you to accomplish the mission, right?
Gotcha.
So you don't have the resources, we got the resources, we got the knowledge, so we'll help you get to the place where you need to be.
Right.
And along the way, you start learning so you can help defend yourself.
That makes sense. So maybe I misspoke then. I said you set up the initial defense.
We do.
But it sounds like you also help continue the cyber defense as well as educate.
Yeah. Well, at some point they should be at some level where they don't need us, but until they get there, we're still there to provide the expertise.
Or as much. They don't need you as much.
As much.
Or
right.
what? So say
as much. It's more as much. Probably.
As much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
But if something happens, my hypothetical company gets trained, and so we're doing cybersecurity, and you've set up the initial defense and still work beside us. But what happens if something bad happens? Somebody takes over. Then can we turn to you and go, okay, now we need a lot more?
Well, yeah, we're there, and there's policies and procedures in place already. Like all the backups are being done regularly, and all these things to make so nobody is cyber proof, cyber attack proof. I mean, it's been proven all around the globe, right? The point is how fast can you be up? Just like everything we were talking about earlier. You're going to get hit and knocked down. How quickly can you get back?
How can you get
back up
right.
and keep moving forward?
Right.
And so in cyber security, that's where we need to be.
Gotcha.
It's cyber resilience.
Resilience.
Yeah.
So we get off the mat.
Yeah, you get up. You got to get back up. And if you're not getting back up, your company's dying, right? Because you're not bringing in income. People are needing money.
Right.
You're not servicing your clients. You got
right.
your whole supply chain that you're involved in, that you're helping this other company because you got this widget that you sell. Now that you've affected them, right? Which
right.
affects
right.
the effect of everything
right.
just starts to tumble.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, we all see the effects of a broken supply chain, whether it's gas or products coming through, groceries. We're all feeling the effects of all of that.
Right.
So God forbid a big cyber attack happens that affects our food chain even more than it already is.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, let's say that a lot of the middle market goes down, or a couple companies go down. You're going to have to go see them. This organization then has to go on the street to help them because they're not able to support for themselves now.
Well,
which is a problem, right? I mean, MedStreet, you set up to help that stopgap of these people that have been misplaced or displaced or not misplaced, I guess. But displaced. That you've got to get out there and help them where they are.
Right.
They've got to get back on their feet. So at some point they've got to have that resiliency to step back up.
Right.
And some of them don't have that mindset. Right. So you're helping them while they're trying to figure themselves out and their situation out.
Yeah.
And
a lot like cybersecurity. What I see on the streets. A couple connections to what you're saying. One is if we get cybersecurity attacked and everything goes down, we have more people on the streets. Like that's not what we want. And the other point is, when I get knocked down and I'm on the canvas, so to speak, sometimes I can pick myself up by my bootstraps and all that kind of stuff that we value. Sometimes I just need someone to be by, with, and through, just beside me. There's some emotional component to know that I'm on the canvas and I'm just emotionally, spiritually knocked down, and somebody's reaching a hand going, I'm beside you.
Yeah, because it could be the rest of their family has abandoned them or just said, look, you keep messing up.
Well, I mean, even the Rocky example from earlier in the conversation, he's got guys in his corner, shouting at him, telling him what to do, encouragement. He's got his family in the front row, shouting encouragement. So by, with, and through makes a lot of sense for me. And certainly MedStreet, I didn't think of that as we started MedStreet, but I guess that's what it does.
Another thing that's drawn me to MedStreet, not only because we're friends and we talk a lot about how to help people.
Yes.
But in the Special Forces, one of the things we used to do is called a MedCap, where we'd go out into the population and we would have our SF medics would help the population with then dentistry, help the animal. I mean, we helped a lot of things.
Yep.
And even outside of being full physicians, right?
Right.
It's helping what we could, but helping that population be able to take care of itself is an important thing, and just give them that little boost.
Yeah, it makes a difference. Well, I've been on the canvas before, and sometimes it's helpful to have someone come alongside. Well, Mr. Miller, there's a few questions. Some of the homeless have actually asked to be interviewed.
Oh, good. Yeah.
They want to be heard. They have a voice. They want to tell people their story. And so I have a couple questions that they've said that they want to be asked. And so I thought I'd pose some of those questions to you, if that's all right.
Yeah, go.
Absolutely. So question, what was your childhood dream?
I wanted to be a musician.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
And you pursued it?
I did.
So
until I stopped. I didn't quit. I stopped.
Okay.
Intentionally. So
that's not quitting.
No, I didn't quit.
It's a good distinction.
Yeah.
Distinction between stopping as intention and quitting.
Yeah. I chose to do a new path.
So you were still moving forward, just on a different path. You just chose a different path to continue to move forward.
Yeah. That's right.
Ooh, that's a great way to think about it. I never thought about it.
Yeah.
I learned from this guy. What is your proudest moment?
Probably right after selection. In Q course.
What? Why?
It was tough.
It was tough.
It was tough.
Okay.
And I found out that I had enough in me to keep it going.
Yeah. Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
You proved something to yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And music was tough too, by the way. Music was tough for me because I have ADD or something. I don't know what I have, but whatever. It's
That's interesting to me.
It's tough to sit in a practice room and just go through line by line and make this stuff. I chose music in high school out of football and other things. I wrestled and I pole vaulted too all through high school, so I was in good shape, and I still got my physical. That was easier for me than music.
Right.
Yeah.
How interesting.
Yeah.
How many hours would you sit in a rehearsal room?
A long time. Stupid long time.
How many hours?
Quantify. I don't know if I can quantify that much.
Well, in a given day.
At least after 2-3 hours in the evening.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of time to sit.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It is. Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
In trumpet, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What is your biggest regret?
Not continuing playing, even though I quit, right? Because that was a dream of mine. So I still would like to pursue it. I stopped. I didn't quit. I'd still like to play.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So that might happen someday?
It could.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. What is the purpose of your life?
One thing.
One thing. City Slickers. I know
Yeah.
what you mean. What's that guy's name? Curly?
Curly, yeah. One thing. Yeah.
What is your...
To leave the world in a better position than when I got here. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Noble. All right. If you had one lesson to offer the world, what would you tell the world?
If you want something to happen, you have to make it happen. It's not going to just happen for you. There's times in our life that we need help, but that's not always going to be the case. You have to actually do something for yourself and do some self-aid. I'll give a silly example. Something that I knew that I failed. It's kind of a self-deprecating story, but it was a good lesson for me. So when
you didn't stop, you failed.
Well, this was weird.
Well, you didn't quit. Okay.
Yeah, right. So when I went back in the service to go to Afghanistan, we were doing a practice hit on a nightclub. to take some bad guys out of a nightclub. Well, in the scenario that we're running, I get shot in the leg, right? I mean, you learn these things in training, right? So I get shot in the leg, and the person that's running the scenario says, okay, you're shot, you're down. And so I'm yelling for medic, right? I'm just yelling for medic, thinking somebody's going to come and help me. And I'm yelling for medic, and that's all I'm doing. And then he comes over, he goes, okay, you bled out, you're dead. And I'm like, oh, well, that's not good. He goes, why didn't you do self-aid? I'm like, well, that's a good question. Why didn't I stop my own bleeding? I knew I was supposed to do that, but I didn't do it at the time, and it was just like, well, that was dumb. I mean, that was a dumb mistake. I mean, it's not like playing Halo or something where I could revive myself. I mean, that
Right.
I can, but
Right.
if we were really in battle, that wouldn't.
That's a problem.
It would be a problem. So, so self-aid is a big deal, and so you've got to want it, you got to do it, and make it happen. So
Yeah, that's right. And just to say, of course, MedStreet helps, but it's amazing how much self-aid we see. Just so you know, how much self-aid we see out in the streets. Of course, your donations of money, donations of time help people, but just so that you know, these lessons of military, of self-aid, the homeless are in battle. They're in a battle, and yes, we go beside them. What is it? By, with, and through.
Yeah.
We do that with your assistance, but it's amazing how much they are doing it. And I tell you, what's really amazing is how much they help each other. They reach out to each other. Someone will take an extra coat or an extra pair of socks and give it to another person that they know has a need. When we're out on the streets, oftentimes people who accept our help and let us help them medically will point us to someone down the street, around the corner, in this other camp, under this other bridge, who they know needs help. So just so you know, self-help is out in the community. And of course, we pass the lesson along as well, and encourage people as we work by with, and through to steal your
No, that's
lingo.
okay. No, I mean,
Good.
and eventually they'll want to get out of the situation they're in. But right now they're in a place in their mind that they just can't get out of.
Yes.
So, there's a lot of, you're helping medically and this stuff, but there's a lot of psychological things that are happening in people's heads at that point.
Absolutely. Well, part of the MedStreet mission is education.
Oh, there you go.
And part of it is medical education and what options they have and where to how to help climb out of this situation. But like you're pointing out, the mental, the mindset, not to fall into a deep despair and to this helplessness.
They're in it. They're already in it.
They're in the battle.
When you're in that situation, it's hard to see from yourself. And if I'll give you another example. So, a few years ago, I got into ultra running, and it really kind of exemplifies these things for people. You always hear about a guy that does a marathon and he bonks, right? Just run out of energy and these things. But I was doing 200 milers and 240 milers, and during that time period, that's 9 marathons in a row. Right. And there are many bonks, and many times that you fall into these things. And when I first started trying to do 100 miles, I had some issues. I failed a few times. Right. I could not get out of this bonk that happens, and you think, oh, I can do it, I'm gonna make it. It is like this, and you're just like in the molasses, and your mindset is not there. It isn't until you got somebody like you and MedStreet coming alongside somebody and say, hey man, hey, you need some insulin.
Right.
You need some sugar, you need something to keep you going, you need something to pep yourself up right now, because where you're at is a bad place. And I think that really helped me understand more of myself, that even in business or everything else, is when you find yourself in that position, you can't always recognize it. And it's always great to have somebody come alongside and point it out for you. Now, they may not like it, that they're calling them out, that they're in some place, they're like, no, I'm fine, and they're really not. But you have they just don't know it yet.
Right.
They can't figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well,
And some have figured it out. They just don't know what to do to get out of there.
right.
In,
Right.
in that
right.
position.
And then MedStreet comes along.
And MedStreet comes along and helps them in those items that they need at the time, and the the mental part of that thing is
Yeah.
an awesome.
And the education. And yeah, absolutely. Well, Mr. Miller, I want to thank you for
Mr. Miller.
for dedicating, donating all of your time and ideas. He puts in a ton of time into MedStreet, and it would take me too long to tell you everything that Jeremy Miller does for MedStreet. The organizational part, all the nonprofit things. Anyway, I just wanted
there's a lot to do.
There's a lot to do.
There's a lot.
It's a lot to do,
And we need their help.
Yeah.
We need your help because there's so much to do. There's so much need out there right now in the homeless communities, not just here in the Alexandria area, but the goal of MedStreet is to help people across the country, and we've got some technology that we can do that with, that we're trying to build out. So that our Dr. Mazzella and the doctors here can only do so much with their time. We need more doctors. We need more help across the country, and that's what we need to do.
Yeah. Well, I just want to thank you for all your time and help. I mean, MedStreet would not exist without your pushing as we tried to get MedStreet off the ground. I was on the canvas on my face many a time, and you came by with and through, and pat on the back. Sometimes a kick in the keister, but
sometimes that's what it takes, right?
Yeah, but I appreciate the pat on the back. I appreciate the kick in the keister. I mean, wouldn't be here without you.
But Dr. Mazzella, the reality is you were doing this before MedStreet.
Yeah.
You've been doing this for years because it's a passion, and to make that passion a vision of what you're doing is really what MedStreet's turned into. It's your vision to help people.
Yes.
On the street.
Well, it's a pleasure to help people.
And so
it's a pleasure.
So I think that your vision is going to be inspiring for other physicians that want to know how they can help and contribute in the most economical way that they can, is their time and energy.
Right.
Right. You need money, but you need people that can actually do.
All of that is true, and so as Jeremy Miller is pointing out, we're trying to build a platform which other people can rely on, so that we can empower you to go out there and help the homeless directly, or even from your couch, to provide things that they need, not only through MedStreet, but directly. But we'll have conversations more about that, and some fundraisers to try to help create this platform. But that is going to be a national platform, and I think I can't even guess at how many people that's going to help, but we're looking forward to partnering with you to help the people that we help now, but that's about to explode in the near future. So thank you for your donation of time, donation of money, and we plan to really expand MedStreet's reach with your help.
Yeah, and if I could, I know we need to wrap this up, but the other volunteers that help MedStreet are the you're the angels for these people, and it's not all about the doctors coming out here. It is because they're going to help them with the medicine, but they can't do that without your help.
Right.
And the organizations that have come alongside MedStreet that want to partner with MedStreet because they've got places that they already go. They just need a medical piece of this,
right.
Which is going to be key in the expansion of MedStreet, I think.
Yeah.
And everybody working together.
Yes.
This is not about this organization getting more credit than that organization to get more. It's all about the people on the ground and how do we get there. And we only get there because everybody has the same vision, is that to help these people.
Right. Right.
So.
Well, you're used to working with teams. I mean, you're within the Green Berets. You guys were a team, and everyone had their specialties, and you worked with other teams than the bigger military. To
accomplish the mission, whatever that mission is.
So obviously, this mission is to provide help to our neighbors in need, medical help, educational help, motivational help. and to provide medicines, to provide clothing, to provide tents, to provide resources, to help direct them to the social resources available, to get them jobs, training for jobs, and to get them off the street. MedStreet, we go out to where they are so they don't have to come to us or try to go to a clinic, although there are barriers, both internal and external barriers. So we cut through all of those to work to steal again, by, with, and through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, thanks for all your help.
Thank you, Dr. Mazzella.
Mazzella.
Thank you, Dr. Mazzella.
Well,
my wife's a doctor too, so Dr. Miller is.
Well, thank you for years of friendship and for continued support and work through MedStreet.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. That's a wrap.
Okay.